there everybody, and welcome to another Blender Helix Alpha tutorial. You can check this tutorial out and many other tutorials at dreamvoid.com, which is a great media sharing website that you can check out forums and engage in a great gaming community, as well as learn more about media arts and such. So let's dive right in. This Photoshop tutorial is going to be about making a really great text effect in Photoshop. So it's called the Royal Red text effect, and I'd really like to show you how to do that. So as usual, let's make a new document at 1920 by 1080 and hit OK. And we're going to convert our background to a smart object and then rasterize our layer, and then we're going to select all and hit delete. I'm going to skip a bit through this tutorial just to get some of the unnecessary parts out of the way. So if I'm fast, sorry about that, but I hope that you can pause the video and go at your own pace. So now we have a solid alpha channel, and let's go ahead and zoom and fit our screen. I'm going to minimize my recording bar, and let's go to the paint fill bucket and fill this with a light gray. Then we're going to go to our layer style and go to inner shadow. We're going to change this to normal, and then distance to 0, choke to about 20, and then let's add some size up to here and make our choke up a little bit to 30, and then uncheck global light on that. That shouldn't affect anything. And go to opacity and turn that all the way up to 100%. Then we're going to go to gradient overlay, and if my computer does malfunction during this tutorial, that's because I'm having a little bit of recording malfunctions, but that's a little bit normal for me, so that might happen. Okay, so go to style radial instead of linear. We're going to reverse this, and then let's turn the scale way up and the opacity just down a bit to about 85. Then we're going to go to pattern overlay, and let's just give it a texture about like that. Press OK, and my computer's a little bit slow right now, so it's going to render that out. And then let's go to layer, new adjustment layer, and then gradient map, and let's just hit OK on that. And let's select the purple to orange gradient map, hit OK, change that layer to an overlay, and then change that to about 35 opacity. Okay, so let's start creating our text. Create a new layer, just name it layer 1, doesn't matter. If you want to layer and organize your layers, that is perfectly reasonable, and I would also use groups, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to keep everything real simple. So we have our awesome looking background, so let's start creating our text. I'm going to use a British German font called Kaiserzeit Gotisch, and I'm just going to type the font shop. Sorry if you hear my mom in the background. Alright, so it is a light gray font right now. That's just because when I start using layer styles, and this tutorial is totally layer styles. We're going to be making some really great stuff, and it's just totally going to be just layer styles. So, which is great because you can always edit the text and add all kinds of different text that include that same layer style without having to make a new layer or anything like that. So, like I was saying, light gray is the perfect base color for all this. I'm just going to center it by eye as well as possible. So let's go to our layer styles tab, and this is where all the magic's going to start happening. This tutorial is all about tweaking, so you're going to see me tweaking all kinds of different settings, and just try your best to keep up with it. I'm going to do my best to tell you exactly what's going on. So let's add a drop shadow element, turn the distance to 0, and then make the size about 27. Give it an inner shadow, make the distance 0, make the size about 27, choke about 7. Let's go to Bevel and Emboss, and then contour. Give this contour a double peak, and then anti-alias to make the range about 60%. Then we're going to give it a color overlay, and let's just make it red for now and turn the opacity down to about 70%. just to give it a washed out red. And then let's go to stroke, and this is going to give us a basic red outline, and we don't want that though. We want a gradient. So let's go to gradient, and that's going to give us this, and we'll mess around with this a lot too. Let's change the position to center, and let's change the gradient style to diamond. And we're going to change the alignment to about totally right, actually, not about anything. It's totally to the right. The angle of the gradient is totally to the right. So let's say 0. And then let's hit enter like I did. Let's go back to it. Basically, we just hit enter to confirm all the effects that we just did, so we don't lose our progress. Let's change the structure size on the stroke to 4. And let's go ahead and edit our gradient. Let's change our base color to a gold color. So go to orange, and then try to go around here. And this is a perfect color right here for what we're going to do. And then we're going to add that same color, but let's go to this and make it a lighter color, so about right there. And then we're going to drag out our default white. And then we're going to get this color and copy it, and then this color and copy it here. This is where it might lag a bit. We're going to drag these closer to each other. And then we're going to make another one here. And then make another one of these here. And then make another one of these here. So it should look something a little bit like that. Let's hit OK on that. Then we're going to go back to Bevel and Emboss. And let's change our glass contour to curved. I think that's the right thing to do. And then uncheck use global light, and let's just give it a 90%. Actually, just for tutorial's sake, let's just keep it as a straight curve there. Let's change our highlight mode to color dodge, and then our shadow mode to overlay, and keep all that exactly how it is. We're going to change the inner bevel to a pillow emboss, or is it stroke emboss? Yeah, stroke emboss. Sorry, having to remember all this. Change the size up a bit to about that. I'm actually going to hit OK and zoom up a bit, just so I can see exactly what's going on. Make sure all my recording's going okay. Looks like it's going fine. Alright, so let's bring this back up and go to our Bevel and Emboss and just keep tweaking everything. Looks like 10 is going to be a perfect size. This is kind of where the tweaking comes in and everything, like I said before. Let's change the stroke size to about 6. Or let's do 5 actually. Blend mode, let's just mess around with this for a second. Alright, let's go to inner glow and change that blend mode to normal, and then let's change the color to black. Change the size up here to about like that, and that's going to bring out a lot of the overtones and the shadows. So change the choke, adjust it to about 35%, real dark, and then change the size to about 9. Then make the opacity about 60%, and that's good. Alright, that's looking pretty awesome so far. Okay, so let's go to pattern overlay and give this a pattern overlay. We can do whatever kind of pattern that you want, but the best pattern I know so far is the second last pattern on this defaults list. And I have a few other my custom patterns here, but this last one here is really nice. So let's go ahead and scale that up just a bit. And looking great so far. Let's go back to our inner shadow and make sure it is sorted out. Let's change the opacity up a bit. And it's starting to look pretty good. Note that one really important thing is that our text layer is above our gradient map, which means that it's not being affected by our gradient map. So we need to click that and drag that under our gradient map so that it is being affected by our gradient map. And you'll see a huge difference there. Hopefully a difference for the good. If not, then you might just want to undo that. But I think it looks pretty awesome. I love the purple to orange gradient map. It gives a great effect for just about anything that you can do in Photoshop. Alright, so from now on, it's just more and more and more tweaking. So this is basically the conclusion to the tutorial. But if you'd like to keep watching and make your text effect a little bit more professional, a little bit more amazing, then stick around and listen up. So let's go back to our layer styles and turn on the satin effect and change that to a color dodge. Looks like my computer's lagging pretty good, so just try and get past that. Let's uncheck invert and check anti-aliased. Let's change the distance down and the size up a bit. Make sure I'm doing that right. It doesn't look like color dodge is the right blend mode for us right now, so let's change that to... Oh, it is the right, actually. Let's go to color dodge and change that to white. So now you can see that it's giving a really great detailed highlight around everything. And that's really going to be helpful. Let's change around the angle on that and see if we can't get something a little bit better. And looks like we're good on that. So as for gradient overlay, let's make a multiply gradient overlay. And go to our gradient and change the opacity on our secondary color to 0. Let's totally flatten it out to black to alpha. And we're going to make sure that's pointing straight up, and then it's going to give us just a little bit of a darker effect on the bottom. And it's also going to cancel out the pattern. And the pattern right now is very, very, very light, but at the end you won't be able to see it at all. So that's good. I do want to point out that a very, very, very strong element to this text is the inner shadow. It's giving it most of its bevel effect. So that really is important that you get that right. Also, a make or break effect that you can do is the soften bar here on the Bevel and Emboss. You do not want to turn that up, because if you do, that kind of thing can happen. And although it does look great, as you can see, like if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for, then fine. But if you're not looking for something like that and you want something a little bit more crisp, then I would suggest just going with total 0. So let's go ahead and tweak around a little bit with this setting. Looks like we're achieving something here. Let's turn the depth up a little bit. And it looks like the perfect size is going to be between 8 and 16. So let's go with something like 12. Alright, that looks perfect. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck the inner glow to see if that is affecting anything. And yeah, okay, good. So, yeah guys, I don't think there's much else that I can do here. It looks pretty great to me. If you achieve something a little bit better, then please let me know. More things that you can do are, like, you can mess around with the drop, shadow, and you can flatten the image, like I'm about to do. I don't suggest flattening the image because that totally gets rid of all of your layers. But you can flatten the image and then add some noise if you're totally done. So add about 3% noise, and then you're totally done with your illustration. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really do want to urge you to go down to the description and check out this website called dreamboy.com. And those of you that are watching this on dreamboy.com right now, I salute you, good sirs and women's of the interwebs, and thank you very much for watching my Blender Helix Alpha tutorial. Head over to my YouTube channel, Blender Helix Alpha. Link will be all over the place on this video. So thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you learned something. Thanks a lot.